Director General of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, Professor Abubakar Sulaiman, tonight to focus on deepening legislative executive synergy and independence. All right, Prof. So how well, based on all of this you've said, how well are you attracting members of the National Assembly to take up courses at the Institute?
How we get them admitted?
How well are you attracting? How well are you attracting members of the National Assembly to take up courses at the Institute?
Oh, it's very simple. The Institute is just like any tertiary institutions. You see, as long as at the point of entry, when the elected representative have been, coming into, about starting resuming work, we try to get them impressed or in there about the essence of the institute. That without the capacity of the parliamentarians, there's nothing we can do. Don't forget again that this country will experience a lot of high turnover of the parliamentarians over the years. The worst of it all was what happened in this last election, where we had just about 71% of the senators are just coming newly, and about 65% of the House of Rep members are new. The same thing applies to the state level. So we try to impress on them that, look, you are coming for a serious business. You are the epitome of democracy. You are the true representative of your people. Your people look up to you for so many things. To get this work done, you must understand the rudiments. You must know how to do the work. So, at the point of entry, we were in touch with them. We did the induction with them, the training induction with them. We tried to at least provide them with some literatures from the institute and other, institutions. And most importantly, we let them know that within the 4 years you are going to stay in Abuja or anywhere you want to stay, even at the state level. This institute provides specialized courses that you could not see in any conventional institution in Nigeria, not even in Africa. And the leadership tried to make announcement to that effect in the various chambers. Through our staff, we tried to populate these services down to the state level. And one thing we did not do was to compromise minimum standard in our admission procedure. What obtains in any university, if you want to read master's, you must have your 5 credits. You must have your first degree, 2.2 or 2.1, as the case may be. The same thing applies with us here. We try to endear them with all these. And when they look at the areas of our resource person, our intellectuals, our teachers, our researchers, our consultants, a reasonable person will know, yes, this is a place I can benefit from. And let me tell you this, for the past 8 years of putting the program in place, we have quite a number of graduates drawn from the parliamentarians in this country, both at the states and at the federal level. Yes.
Prof, how about the state houses of assembly? Do you have engagement with them?
Oh, very interesting question. Yes, before now, yeah, you could say before 2019, we had little or no engagement with them as such. But for the past 5 years now, we have been having serious engagement with the subnational parliament, especially in the areas of capacity building. As I'm talking to you now, as at the time we had induction with the National Assembly, the Rep and Senate, we had the same induction with about 21 state assembly in this country. We are in partnership with about 22, subnational parliaments. We have training session for them quarterly from time to time, one on the basis of their own request, sometimes on the basis of our own initiative. In other words, in the last 5 years, our relationship with the state assembly has been so, robust, productive, that hardly could you see one state assembly that will say, oh, we have not passed through names for one program or the other. I think we have been having it, productive with them. And that is why it was convenient for us to champion their cause. when they are talking about autonomy, when they are talking about funding, when they are talking about getting their own funding from the first line charge, our institute championed that cause. We championed that cause through a lot of intercourse we have with them that now produce, okay, take the lead, do it for us. And that is why up to now we are in touch. So we're able to do this not only on our own, we partner with a lot of donor agencies. We partner with the Quran Institute, for instance, a German donor agency. We partner with Westminster Foundation from UK. We partner with UN Women. We partner with a lot of donor agencies in getting these services rendered to the state level. The state subnational parliaments have been part of what we do in the last 5 years, and we have a whole lot of program outlined for the next, year coming up.
So, Prof, let's now talk about deepening legislative executive synergy and independence. One question I would like to ask you is, most political analysts see lawmakers as too pliant to the whims of the executives. What's your position on this?
That the lawmakers are liars?
Many analysts see lawmakers as too pliant to the whims of the executive. I'd like to have your position on this.
Okay. Yes, there was this perception, the notion everywhere, that the Nigerian lawmakers are subservient. Not only Nigerian lawmakers, most African lawmakers, they believe they are subservient to the executive. It's a perception, it's a notion, it's a belief, rightly or wrongly. But what I can tell you is that that perception or belief is more pronounced at the state levels. At the national level, yeah, you can say they have relative autonomy to a large extent. And this thing is scientific. But at the state level, out of 36 subnationals, for instance, parliament we have, how could you see 2-3 subnational parliaments that will claim to be independent without the control, influence, and at times without being submerged by the executive? So, in the areas of being tied to the upstream of the executive, I want to believe those analysts, they could be right at the state level. But at the national level, yes, at the level of recruitment, of leadership, as a political scientist that I am, I don't think any executive president will want to see a speaker or a senate president that will work against his policy. You want to see a presiding officer that will work with them, that is part of their program, that is part of their project. Hence, some relative intervention, incursion into determining who become the senate president, the speaker, and other principal officers. Nobody will just fold his arms and say, oh, go and elect whoever he wants. So people want to think, they want to really monitor and see how they can really influence, so to speak, mobilize support for somebody or someone they believe, could carry out the program of the party. That perhaps inform what we see at the national level. But whether in the course of their proceeding, in the course of their assignment, in the course of their lawmaking and oversight function, whether indeed the lawmaker at the center are subservient or not, I want to disagree. That from what I've seen so far, they tend to develop some kind of autonomy in discharge of their duty from time to time. And we could see this from the oversight function. We could see this from there's some certain altercation between the executive and the legislature. You could see it on them, dropping or declining to approve certain appointment or appointee. We could see it on several occasions at the national level, where you could find it a bit, except yesterday that you saw what happened in Lagos, that the parliament in Lagos are now trying to drop. You could only see something where the parliament at the state level will now say no to the executive. It's very rare. But at the federal level, I want to believe, to a large extent, that Nigerian legislature at the center tend to have some relative autonomy in the discharge of their duty. So the analysis of the observation, is neither here nor there. You can say at the subnational level, yes, they are subservient. But at the federal level, they tend to have some relative independence.
Prof, another argument tied to this narrative is that the legislature is the most abused during military rules. Hence, it's taking time to evolve. But is it not long enough to have shed that trauma?
But again, I think they are evolving. They are evolving. You see, one problem the Nigerian legislature, just like any other ones in other climes in Africa has, is that their responsibility is to make law. Their duty is to oversight. Their duty is to represent their people. In the course of oversight, in the course of making law, you see, the National Assembly members, you see there at times, in the course of their public hearing or public whatsoever, they summon, they have power to summon. Well, when they summon chief executive MDs, they don't have power to enforce. They don't have power of coercion. They don't have power to compel. The instrument of coercion is not in the hands of the legislature. We have seen instances where they summon IG and he refused to accede to the summon. We have seen where they summon chief executive of custom and he refused to accede to the summon. We have seen instances where they summon chief executive of MDA, powerful MDA, and they refuse. And when they refuse, they don't have the power to compel to enforce. I think the power of enforcement is a major problem. As long as the only thing they could do was to make law, making law, oversight, and they don't have the power of compliance. I think that is just the gap there. And it's not just something we can blame the parliament on. It's something we all must stand up to say, look, this thing must stop. So I think that's the problem we have. So anything you want to now, any blame or critique on the parliament in Nigeria, in the areas of their shortcoming, I think should look at the law that set it up, should look at the legal framework, should look at the extant rule, and let's see how we can tinker with it in a way that we can give them more power. Secondly, when you look at the funding of National Assembly, it's something that you pity them on. I know this is one topic people don't like to hear, but again, if out of, for instance, people have the notion that the National Assembly they take control of all the money in Nigeria, they are the one discharging the funding, they are the one that corner all the resources. You can say that at other level, but when it comes to the allocation to National Assembly, I think that institutions or organ of government is underfunded. Out of 21 trillion, for instance, budgeted for, at time you can only see taking 200 billion as allocation going to National Assembly. Out of this 200 billion, you have our institute, you have National Assembly Service Commission, you have the Public Complaint Commission, you have the National Assembly bureaucracy of more than 3,000 people. So, but the problem they have is that they don't tell their story. And know what they are facing. They need to,
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. I mean, this is an ongoing conversation. I'm certain we will have another day to continue this. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Professor Abubakar Olanrewaju Sulaiman, Director General of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. Thank you so much for joining us, Prof.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a great weekend.